Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachak Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Prepare for Hard Times. And pretty much this is a lesson inspired by a video I was watching earlier. One of the last videos that Elder Mawatazak did. And he was going into this article. And it kind of gave me the thought, as he was going through, breaking, the scriptures down and going through the article itself, dealing with, the up and coming, which pretty much it's the secretary, I forget the secretary of what, but it's a secretary that's in charge of pretty much, enforcing these policies, that they push out there. And the way they're doing it is they're pushing it through something called an executive order. Now, an executive order, right, when we look up the word executive, I wasn't able to get the definition offline, but I did get the word executive is a person responsible for the administration of a business. So an executive order is something that's given teeth by the executive branch of government, which is through the president, through something known as the executive orders, and it gives the person in charge the necessary powers to enact these laws that pretty much supersede the Constitution, right? So there's what I looked up was you have a series of executive orders that are set up, and these executive orders that they set up are pretty much, for lack of better words, rob the so-called quote-unquote American people of their rights. All right, it robs them of their rights, and there's a whole list of them, right? And one of them is called Executive Order 10997, and it's called Assigning Emergency Preparedness Functions to the Secretary of the Interior. And pretty much that's who's in charge of enforcing these, these executive orders, the Secretary of the Interior, as is stated here. And it says, by virtue of the authority vested in me as President of the United States, including authority vested in me by Reorganization Plan Number 1 of 1958, 72 Statute 1799, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, Scope. The Secretary of the Interior, hereinafter referred to as the Secretary, shall prepare national emergency plans and develop preparedness programs covering 1. Electric power. Listen good. Number 1 is electric power. What have they been saying lately? That there could be a threat of the electric grid going down because it's not set up to handle this type of power, this type of volume, which we know is all BS. It says number 2, petroleum and gas. Now keep in mind, this was set up when in 1958 under this particular statute, 72 Statute 1799. All right. So it says number 1 is electric power, number 2 petroleum and gas, and there's no coincidence that we're suffering these problems right now, because this is when they can enact these executive orders in a time of emergency. You see? So it says number 3, solid fuels, and number 4, minerals. These plans and programs shall be designed to provide a state of readiness in these resource areas with respect to all conditions of national emergency, including attack upon the United States. And it goes on and on and on and on. It gives you, this is I forgot what I typed in online. I think I typed in that the government can set up citizens under work brigade, and then I put executive order, and all of these came out. Now some of the other ones are executive order 10995, which is telecommunications management, which they can take over all sources of telecommunication, whether it's phone, whatever way somebody can communicate, they can take over it. Then executive order 10997, they can take over the electric power, petroleum and gas, solid fuels and minerals, which we just read. Executive order 10998, they can take over food resources, farms, fertilizer, and facilities. This is why you see what's going on now, the buy-up of all these farms, the on-purpose destruction of these different granaries and places where food is manufactured, or food is set up for distribution, or whatever the case may be. This is not a coincidence. This is a plan. Remember, Henry Kissinger said, that food can be used as a weapon, pretty much. Control the food, you control the people. Then executive order number 10999 is transportation, the production and distribution of all materials. So any form of transportation, whether it's your personal vehicle, company vehicle, whatever the case may be, planes, trains, automobiles, they're taking over everything. Then you have executive order 11,000, which is 11000, which is manpower management. So they have the right to take all the citizens and set them up in work brigades, pretty much, and they can ship them to wherever they want to ship them. They have that power. So pretty much it's called what? Slavery. So they can just grab and when they declare a national emergency, they can take all of the American citizens and set them up as slaves, and they can ship them anywhere they want. All right. Then you have executive order 11001, which is health and welfare services and educational programs. They're taking over all of that. Executive order 11002, national emergency registration system, because if I'm not mistaken, this one here in particular is where because the post office is a federal entity, and everybody will have to be registered through them, in so many words. I can't click on these individually because this is an offline source, so I'm just kind of reading off. You can look into it a little bit more, if you would like. It says executive order, which pretty much they're putting everybody in the registry. So then the next one is executive order number 11003, is air travel, airports, operating facilities. So anything within the so-called United States, they can take over. Then executive order 11004 is housing and community facilities, which they'll be taking over people's homes and all of that. Then you have executive order 11005, interstate commerce. And these interstates, these major highways are pretty much set up for when they move the militia from city to city, town to town, or state to state. And that's really what it was set up for. They can land planes there, and they're pretty much got everything in place, because they're about to make a move, a serious move. That's why, as the name of the lesson is, prepare for hard times. Then we have executive order 11051, emergency planning. Executive order 11490, federal departments and agency. Executive order 12472, telecommunications functions. Now I wish I had the other the other executive order, so I could read a little bit more into it. But when you go online, you can find these things out. So what they're doing is they're pushing this demonic agenda, and they're controlling it by what? By executive orders, which is pretty much an unrighteous decree, an unrighteous law, which we're going to get there right now. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 10, and 1. It says, woe unto them. So pretty much woe is destruction. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decree. So a decree is what? A law. So destruction unto those that pretty much put into authority an unrighteous law. It says, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. Yeah, because this is grievous. These laws that they're putting into place are grievous for the average citizen. For them, is good because they're benefiting off of it. They're benefiting from the shutdowns. The poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer because they're taking every little bit of resource that the poor have and the middle class. So the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer. Let's go to the book. I want to get that in the book of Isaiah 10. I wanted to get the couple of words out of there. Actually, I just want to get, let me see. Oh, I want to get this one here, grievousness. And the word grievousness is aimal, which aimal, I believe, goes into a laborer. Yep. Toil, trouble, labor, trouble, mischief, toil, labor. Right. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the same word that appears in the book of Job 20, where it speaks about the wicked. If I'm not mistaken, it appears there. So toil, trouble, labor. So that's what? Grievous, because it causes oppression. You see? And this is why the Lord is bringing this devil down, because they're causing oppression through a system, a monetary system that is not correct, that is not right. So the Lord is going to judge these devils for that. So reading this again in Isaiah 10 and 1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. Yeah, because it's grievous to be able to subject yourself to a system like this, because a system like this that promised people, life, happiness, and the pursuit of life, whatever, however that saying goes, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or whatever, however they put it, is nothing more than a facade. It's nothing more than a lie, because the very system that they set up for people to get ahead is pretty much grievous. The elder Karatazar put Isaiah 10 and 1 from the CSB. Woe to those enacting crooked statutes and writing oppressive laws. Right, because if they were really a righteous people, being that they have or they claim they claim to be a so-called Christian, or be based upon Christian principles, they should apply the principles and the laws and statutes of the scriptures, which give you a far better, a deal, in keeping this law, and it shows you how to keep certain laws, what to do, and that would help the person keeping those laws to prosper, which was only given to Israel anyway. But they are not a righteous people. That's what the Lord said, unto the wicked, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenants in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instructions and castest my words behind thee. And what they do is they bring out their own penal code. And these executive orders, which are totally wicked, they have been given teeth by, first and foremost, the signature of these devils that were in office, but also by them declaring a national emergency, which can be anything. When you look up the definition for national emergency, it doesn't really get super specific. It could be anything, and that's how they like the laws to be, very vague, so that they can interpret as they see fit. And that's why they do it that way. And that's why scoffer, man, shut the fuck up. Just bear with me 1 second while I spray some roach spray on this clown. Oh, somebody already got him. Brother got him before I could get him. Sorry. He got stomped like a roach. All right, let's go to the book of Psalms. The 94th chapter, I believe it is. Just bear with me 1 second. Psalms 94 and 20. So it says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? And that's what you're doing. So this wicked rule that you have can't continue, because it's based off of wicked principles, and wickedness does not lead into everlasting life. Let's go to that. Psalms 94. I want to pick some words out of there. Psalms 94 and it's the 20th verse. Let me see what words we got there. Throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law. So let's pick out 3 of these words. Let's pick up the word fellowship, which is chabar, which is companion. So in other words, you being a wicked ruler, you're not going to be able to hold on to your throne, because the way you're setting things up is under wickedness. So it says frameth. The word frameth is yatazar, to form, fashion, frame. All right. Now, any of you brothers that have worked in construction, especially in carpentry, you know, when you framing a wall, or you framing a window, or you framing a doorway, or whatever the case is, it's pretty much just a skeleton that you set up, you know, of wood, so that, you know, and the distance away from them gives the person that's putting up the sheetrock, they know that each from one stud to the other is going to be 16 inches on center. So they know, like, if they put up their sheetrock and they screw it down and they can't see anymore, all they got to do is measure from when they find one stud, they just keep measuring over, and they'll be able to screw the other ones out. So that's a frame. So they're framing mischief by a law, right? So it says, it frameth mischief. So now let's go to the word mischief. And the word mischief, once again, is aimal, which goes back to toil, trouble, labor. You know, so working, toiling is, you know, is a toil, a work, a labor, you know, and so is wickedness, so is mischief. And they're doing all of this by what? By a law. And the word for law is chak, which is statute, ordinance, limit, something prescribed, do. And that's pretty much what it is. They put these things into law, and then they expect, which they know is people cannot comply with, people cannot, you know, keep, because they know that once people agree to it, and how have the so-called American public agreed to it? By the 14th Amendment, which makes you a statutory slave under the jurisdiction of the United States, which is only 10 miles square of DC is subject to those laws and statutes that they put out there. But through the 14th Amendment, the American public has allowed those rules and regulations and statutes to be applied unto them. And that's why the majority of people, or pretty much everybody in America, is what? A contractual slave. Because it says that neither in the 13th Amendment, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall appear in the United States, or something along those lines. But it didn't say anything about voluntary servitude. And voluntary servitude is contractual servitude. Just like when you go back to Egypt, you had the Egyptians that had land, they had money, they had cattle, and when the famine came, they got wiped out. And that's pretty much what's happening right now. This is the famine of Egypt all over again. And what they're doing is, back then the Heavenly Father caused it, because he caused it supernaturally, okay? Because it was the time for, Joseph to be built up so that his father Jacob and the rest of Israel, our forefathers, would be taken care of, because we were going to go into slavery under the Egyptians. But right now, it's supernaturally being done, but it's being done through this devil, and they're purposely destroying the not only the economy and everything else, but they're destroying the food supply, because that's one way to control people, by the lack of food. When you go back to Egypt, when the people ran out of food, they went to Joseph, and they did what? They gave him money, so that they can buy grain from him. And then after a while, that money ran out. Their cattle ran out, and what they had to do was they had to give over the deeds to their lands and even themselves into slavery in order for them to eat. And this is the same method that these international banking families are applying right now, to the world. Is that same debt slavery that's being pushed, or that was being pushed in the time of Egypt. They're pushing that again. Remember, these devils are wiser than Daniel. They know about they know about the history of the scriptures. They know about manipulation in certain nations or empires that have been on the earth, and things that they used, to keep their subjects, in subjection, so to speak. All right. So let's see what we got on the comment board. The brother from Hawaii, Gabar Yahweh, that said, Apostle, in Venezuela during the economic crash, the average monthly salary was $1 up until last December. Look at that. And that's what they're doing. They're causing the crisis. They're collapsing the dollar. And on top of that, as the prices are going up, a lot of the wages are not going up. And even though the wages are going up now, because the people that own these businesses are trying to get people to come to work, they're gonna have to transfer that upping, of the wages to the consumer, which means they have to, upcharge on their goods. So every which way you go, this place is starting to collapse. That's why the name of the lesson is Prepare for Hard Times. Now, I looked up the word prepare, and there was another word in there that I wanted to get. Now, the word prepare, it says make ready or suitable or equip in advance for a particular purpose or for some use, event, etc. So we're getting ready mentally right now for the things that are to come, because truly the only way to prepare for this is mentally. When we go to Isaiah 33 and 6, right, it says, and knowledge and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So the knowledge and wisdom that you learn here is what's going to help keep you, or help keep your sanity, when all hell breaks loose and you see the whole system collapsing. Let's go real quick to that in Isaiah 33. I wanted to look up that word. What word was it? There was a word in there I wanted to look up. Just bear with me 1 second. Let's see. All right, let's look up the word stability. The word stability is amanah, amawanah, which sounds almost like amawan or faith. Yeah, it says firmness, fidelity, steadfastness, steadiness. So pretty much the knowledge and wisdom shall be the faith of thy times, because there is strength in faith. You see? That's why it says that faith without works is dead, and vice versa. So you have to have both. So the stability is what? The faith. Because what is that? That's in the book of 2nd Ezra 9. Let's go there right quick. 2nd Ezra chapter 9. This is 2 Ezra 9 and 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby you have believed. Right, and that's why the Lord is putting that mark upon his elect. And that mark, when you go back to the Hebrew in Ezekiel 9, is what? Thawah. And the word Thawah is exemption from judgment. And that's, the only way that anyone will really be safe in these times. The scriptures say the angel of the Lord encampeth around them that fear him to deliver them. And the angels are set up there as what? As ministers of those that are heirs to salvation, which are the elected the nation of Israel. So what's happening right now, as you see that clown-ass scoffer came on here, these are jakes that are laughing and scoffing. Some of them are paid off. Some of them are agents. Some of them are just stupid. But the same mocking that they're doing, when all hell breaks loose, very soon, they're going to be scrambling because they're not going to know what to do. Then they're going to wish that they had listened. Like the scripture say, then shall they know that a prophet has been among them. And it's coming. Prepare for hard times. Hard times are coming. They're here. So it says, and by faith, whereby you have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. And that's what's coming. Salvation, destruction to the 2/3 here in America, and salvation to the 1/3. Now let's go from there. Let's go to 2 Timothy. Precepts are starting to come more to mind now. Daniel. Let me just get some of these precepts so I don't forget them. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, so let's start off in 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And we're in the last days right now, and perilous times are coming. You had a situation back during the time after Yahushua and after the disciples, the majority of the disciples were dead, where there was a serious perilous time back then, which was what? 70 AD. But in this time, 70 AD is going to be like child's play in comparison to what's going to happen now. Now, 70 AD was very detrimental for our people back then. It was terrible. It was very destructive, very agonizing. I mean, it's a shameful history. It's really bad. But what happened then is going to be nothing in comparison to what's going to happen now. And this is backed up with Daniel the 12th chapter in the 1st verse. It says, and at that time, what time? The time of Jacob's trouble, which we're not in Jacob's trouble yet, but it's kind of like in the beginning stages. It's like it's there on the heels of it, but it's not really fully there yet. When Jacob's trouble hits, you're going to know. It's going to be evident. So it says, and at that time, meaning during the time of Jacob's trouble, shall Michael stand up, because there's going to have to be divine intervention from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai in order for protection to be given to us, or otherwise we won't be able to make it. Yahushai said, unless those days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be left to be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So we're coming up to these times now. So when we go to, real quick before I read on in Daniel, Isaiah 59:19, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west. And this is why it's so important. We're in the Western Hemisphere. And this is why it's so important not only to know the names of Yahweh and Yahushai, not only to teach in the names of Yahweh and Yahushai, but also to believe in those names. Because that is a part of, or that is the main part of our salvation. Besides the faith, that is the main part of our salvation. That is the beginning of the faith. The names of Yahweh and Yahushai. That's why it says, what is his name and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell. Because those are the names that are given for us to call upon in these times. You see? So it goes on to say, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. Because you see brothers all over the world right now waking up using those same names of Yahweh and Yahushai. You have camps everywhere. Not just America. not just the islands, not just, you got Canada, you got Central America, South America, out there in Bolivia and Peru, in Puerto Rico, the DR, Jamaica, all the different, all over the planet, Australia. Everywhere you go on the planet, you have camps out there that are calling on the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai and praising those names and through this Holy Spirit, which is the Ruach HaKodesh. It says, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, like they did during 70 AD, like when the Babylonians rushed Israel, besieged it, and many other times of the Greeks, when they came, the Greeks, when the enemy shall come in like a flood with their armies, their militaries, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Not man with his guns. We got ratchets, or we got, pieces, on us. And when these devils come up, we be able to defend ourselves. No. The scriptures say that we're not going to be able to be delivered even by a brother being swift. No weapons, nothing. The only weapon that we have is Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and his words. And that's it. And that's the main thing, that's going to protect us in these times. And that's why it's so important to know those names. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him, which is going to be nothing more than divine intervention. Just like, the elder Karajas I put, like Pharaoh's army chasing after us. Yeah, what did the Lord do? He caused a big-ass chariot that was leading us out of Egypt to come between the camp of Israel and the camp of the army of the Egyptians, which did what? Slowed them down, because they were gaining on us because we were on foot. Our forefathers were on foot. So that's where the Lord put the chariot in between them. And not only did he put the chariot between them, he shut the whole chariot off except for the front of it. He left the lights out on the front, and the back of it, he turned the lights off. So they were struggling to keep up with our forefathers. So just like there was a divine intervention then, and many other times, there's going to be some type of divine intervention now that's going to protect, and it's going to shield, the elect from the said perils that are coming. That's what we read back in Daniel 12. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up. Why is he going to stand up? The great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, because we're going to need protection. Who shall lead me into the strong city? Who shall lead me into Edom? Or not thou, O Lord? So the Lord Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai with the angels are going to be there to protect us when all hell breaks loose. Right? It says, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So this time now that's coming, there's going to be an event that's going to take place, the time of Jacob's trouble, that's going to be so severe, so vicious, that there was never a time like it before. And like Yahweh Shai said, unless those days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be left to be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And that's how it's going to go down. Now, exactly what the Lord is going to do, we don't know. We can speculate. We know we can read the scriptures and see different examples of how our forefathers were delivered, and we can formulate an opinion, so to speak, based off of that. But we don't know how it's going to happen and how the Lord is going to do it, what he's going to do, if he's going to open a portal for us to just walk through and escape from these devils, if he's going to cause a gigantic chariot to separate us, if he's just going to have a force field over us. We don't know how it's going to go down. If he's just going to make the earth open up and swallow these armies that are trying to get, we don't know how it's going to go down. If the chariots are going to be shooting lasers at these devils that are trying to get the elect, we don't know how it's going to go down, but we know it's going to be divine intervention. Somehow, some way. Because the Lord put the Spirit on us out here to put in this work. And this work is not going to go unrewarded. The Lord said, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation that shall come upon all the world to try them. So it says, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, but there's a but to it. Every one that shall be found written in the book, meaning that those that are part of the elect, that have been sealed with deliverance from the beginning, with the Thawah, which is the exemption from judgment that's coming. And this word, this very word right here, which is the seed, is that ticket. But only the elect are going to be able to hear it, believe it, accept it, keep it, and be delivered. This is that ticket out of here. All right. Now let's go from there to the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 15. It says, "See then that you walk circumspectly." I'm sorry. Let me start at 14. "Wherefore he saith, Awake, thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Yahweh shall give thee light." Yeah, because that light is what's leading us and guiding us down the path. It's a spiritual light. It's not an actual light. And that's why the scriptures say that the carnal man can't receive the things of the spirit, because they are spiritually discerned. So in order for you to spiritually discern something, there has to be a light that goes on inside of you, that guides you, that makes you move certain directions. Whether you hear the voice of the Lord speaking to you, whether you hear the angels guiding you, or whether it's just thoughts and ideas that come into your mind to do and to function and to move. You see, that's the light. While the rest of the world, the rest of these Israelites are in darkness. And we are not in darkness like they are, so that their day will overtake us as a thief. That's why it says, that pretty much Jake is in darkness, but the elect are not in darkness. There was another point that to make, but it kind of escaped my mind for the moment. So it goes on to say, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." And what is a fool? A fool is someone that rejects knowledge. A fool cannot retain knowledge. A fool is like a leaky vessel. A wise man or a wise woman, hears the words of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and keeps them. And when the time comes, that will be able to be used as a force field. The word is going to be a force field. It's what's going to save us. In the book of James, the first chapter tells us that. The engrafted word which is able to save thy soul. And that's what the Lord said, that it pleased the Heavenly Father by the foolishness of preaching to save them which believe. Because it's a foolish thing that we're doing. Nevertheless, it's what the Lord requires. And that's why we are here yelling on the rooftops, and at the edge of the hills, on the streets, in the marketplaces, through these different lessons. Because when the time comes, there's no one out there that's going to have an excuse. Because the whole world is going to see and going to hear this word. This is what the Lord said. That's why he allowed this devil to invent what's known as the internet, so that the word can go out. So no one is with excuse. There will be no excuses in that day. The Lord is hammering out his prophecies right now as we're speaking. And it's getting bad. It's getting worse. Everything is already in place. This is why these devils are moving lightning speed the way they're moving. They ain't moving fast enough, but they're moving. They're moving a whole hell of a lot faster than they've done in years, because this is the time. We're fast approaching the time of Jacob's trouble, and the Lord is about to judge, this world, and he's going to judge you Israelites out there that have mocked his name, that have played with his name, his son's name, that have played with his words, that have mocked his prophets, that have come against, this truth. The Lord is going to deal with every last one of you. Now, your only hope could be that even though you mocked, that you repent to the Lord, and the Lord can have mercy on you and forgive you. But that's only given of him. So it says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. All right? So redeeming the times, buying back the times, measuring the times, keeping our eyes open for what's coming. This is why Yahweh Shai said this, and he said it several times because it was very important to hear this message that Yahweh Shai said. This is Mark 13:32. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son of Man, but the Father. But what Yahweh Shai did leave us, he left us clues as to what would be taking place in these times before his coming. So we know that we're near because of the signs that are playing out, the prophecies that are playing out, that are speaking out here. That's how we know that we're close. It says, take heed, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is. That's why we watch. That's why we pray. That's why we're circumspect. That's why we keeping an eye on things that are happening. On the news. Different legislation they're passing. When there's a distraction, some kind of BS going on. What's really going on? What's really happening behind the scenes? What are they really doing? What policies are they passing? These are the things that we focus on more. While the rest of the world is focused on goddamn slaps, and court appearances of famous people because they're lesser luminaries working to keep the public distracted. We're looking at the hardcore issues. Things that are detrimental to prophecy, that are detrimental to salvation. Filtering it through the scriptures, giving the understanding as it's given to us. For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants. And what was the authority that he gave to his servants? To do his work. Blessed is that man whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Doing what? Doing the work. It says, and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. So this is our job, to watch. Stand upon the tower and watch. And whatever we see out there, give warning of it. Bring it out. Break it down and filter it through the scriptures. And say, look, this is what's going on. That's what's happening. This is what's happening. The reason why this went down is because the scriptures say so and so and such and such. Watch ye therefore. Notice how many times he said watch. Watch ye therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh, at evening, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning. Right? It says, lest coming suddenly, he finds you sleeping. See? So we don't want to be sleeping. We want to be wide awake when the Lord comes back, so that we can be delivered. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. And he keeps saying that to show you how important it is to watch as well as pray. And I just want to look up that word watch in the book of Mark 13. Mark 13. And this in a few places, but we're just going to go straight to the 37th verse. It's the very last word, which is Gregorio, to watch. Metaphorically, give strict attention to. Be cautious. Active. See? To take heed, lest through remission and indolence, some destructive calamity suddenly overtake one. Right? That's why the Apostle Paul mentioned that in the book of 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. Let's get that real quick. 5:1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. Why? Because they were seeing things that were happening back then. And just like we're seeing things happening right now. We're in tune with the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai through the prophecies that are happening, through the book speaking. It says, for yourself know perfectly that the day of the Lord so a thief in the night, and it will come as a thief in the night. And even people out there that claim to know the scriptures and say, well, look, these things are happening right now. It means that the Lord is coming close. Even they're going to be taken because they don't have the full garment on. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Right? Because these jakes out here that are looking for things to go back to normal, they're not going to get that normality anymore. You don't cross over the threshold into a new world. These are new times. These are the times that were spoken of years ago, thousands of years ago. And it's happening right now. This is the time of the Gentiles, the time of these nations, especially the Edomites. And they're going to unleash hell on these streets, which is going to be the hell of the Heavenly Father. It says, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. Why? Because the Lord has our eyes open. He has given us the eye salve. He has allowed us to watch. He has allowed us to pray. He has allowed us to warn. It says, ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Why? Because those that are in darkness are not going, they're going to be blindsided by what's coming. It says, therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. That is a very, I bet you if you look up the word watch, you know how many times that comes up in the scriptures? Because that's a very important thing. You not only do you have watches, you also have to watch, and you have watchmen to watch for the prophecies coming, to warn Jake. And Jake, whether they were here, whether they were forbid, don't matter. Because either way, the Lord is still going to do his thing. It says, for they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that are drunken in the night, meaning drunken off of these philosophies, sleeping, meaning under the spell of the God of this world, which are these Edomites, these international bankers, the cosmocrator, which when you look up that word cosmocrator, that's the rule, when you read Ephesians, the 6th chapter and the 12th verse, you know, the rulers of the darkness of this world. That's who's operating behind the scenes on the left-hand side, which the Most High is directing them. It says, but let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. Because we are saved by hope. There's no one on the planet that's saved. There will be those that are saved. The Israelites that are part of the elect will be saved because it's already sealed in them, but there has no one has been saved yet. These plantation Christians have been duped by these devils that thinking that they're saved because they accepted Jesus in their life. First of all, you don't accept the Messiah, Yahushua. He accepts you. And second of all, you don't do the choosing. The Most High does the choosing. For the Most High have not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahushua, right? Who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also you do. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Lord, and admonish you. Yeah, because the leaders are watching over your soul, or supposed to anyway. You know, unlike these other groups out here, these other Israelite groups whose leaders are not really watching. You know, they're not giving you the whole rundown. They're only giving you part of the armor. You got to give them the whole armor. You got to eat the whole roll and give them the whole roll. It says, and esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace among yourself. And that's another thing. You know, all this shit, all of these and all this animosity or whatever may be going on, it's time to put all that shit to the side, man. You know, shit is getting real out here. All that petty shit should be left at the door. You know, there shouldn't even be an issue with that shit anymore. You know, in these times, especially in these times that we live, it should never have been an issue, but especially in these times that we're living in. It says, now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men. Yeah, because the scripture said, you that are strong bear the infirmities of the weak. You know, just because a brother might be weak, don't mean that he's not of the elect. You know, he just needs to be comforted and strengthened until he comes. That be them spirits messing with brothers, and each individual brother has a particular spirit in them that the Lord gave them. Some men have great faith, some men have little faith, but the key is to have faith, because if there's even an inkling of faith, that faith can grow. All right, so pretty much, this has been prepare for hard times. Hard times are coming. And there was something in this article that I had wanted to address, but I'm not sure exactly where it is, so just bear with me. If I find it, I'll bring it out. If not, then and by the way, these executive orders were signed February 16, 1962 by John F. Kennedy. So much for one of your good presidents. No, you know what it was? Salak, it wasn't this. It was something else. I believe it was an article. I'm not sure if I didn't get the article. There was an article that I had. That brought out a particular word that I wanted to look up, but I don't see it. So yeah, so you know what? That's pretty much it. So with that, I pray that your brothers and your few sisters have been edified. Keep your eyes open, keep your eyes single. Things are getting hard, but it's going to get harder. Prepare for hard times. You have the necessary spiritual tools, already. Just put them into use. Continually pray. Ask the Lord, to give us the strength, to our bodies, to our minds, through the Spirit, through His words, to be able to, maintain faithful in these times, and to constantly apply the things that the Lord has taught us, and that His word can protect, guide us, and keep us, from all the perils that are coming. So with that, I pray that your brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.